Recently, I was reflecting on the anime and manga that have become popular this year, and I began to recognize a trend. There's Spy X Family, Chainsaw Man, Tokyo Revengers, My Dress Up Darling, and Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, although there is truly no big overarching thing that connects all these series to pinpoint one thing that makes them all successful, you can easily divide these series into two categories: wholesome or darker. Of course, we have Spy X Family and Dress Up Darling in the wholesome category, and then Jujutsu Kaisen and Tokyo Revengers in the darker category. So this leaves us with one outlier in the bunch, that being Chainsaw Man, which is arguably the most popular already, even without the anime adaptation officially out. I think we can all agree though that Chainsaw Man is able to balance both the darker, gritty tone of its story masterfully with its wholesome elements. So what does this mean? Well, there's obviously a reason Chainsaw Man is the most popular, and I believe it's because of that balance that it has become the phenomenon it is today. But I'm not here to talk about Chainsaw Man today. No. I'm here to talk about a new manga that balances wholesome and darker elements like Chainsaw Man, called Marriage Toxin, and I believe it's next up. Garo is a part of a prestigious hitman family that specializes in poison and has been around for over 100 years. He's lived his whole life as an assassin who only observes the world and how those in it work to become a better assassin. He has never eaten a meal someone has cooked for him and has never gone to school because it's either unnecessary or compromising. Garo's family consists mainly of him and his sister Akari, and has stayed at the top of the assassin field through the strict marriage rules. Garo sees himself as undesirable to women and finds the connection pointless since it's easier being single. Akari, however, believes that finding someone you want to spend the rest of your life with is amazing and hopes that one day Garo can find someone too. Now, remember how I said they have strict marriage rules? Well, it turns out Akari has a girlfriend, and if Garo can't find someone to marry him and have kids, then Akari will be forced to marry a man she doesn't love and have kids against her will to continue the Poison family bloodline. Garo is told this before he goes on a mission hired by a brothel where it turns out he must assassinate a marriage swindler, Kinosaki, who has been stealing their customers. Through a series of events, Garo proposes, she marries him, to which she refuses and says that getting married for others and not for himself would only lead to more trouble. Garo then confesses that he wishes he was able to open up with others and live a peaceful life where he doesn't have to kill. This somewhat moves Kinosaki and she refuses to marry him. Instead, she says that she will help him find love. The only problem is the only women Garo are exposed to are those involved in his assassinations. So can and will Garo be able to find love while also being an assassin? Also, Kinosaki is a guy,
show me who
not a
did
girl.
it. She kinda bad though. Is that Frost?
I'm shocked too, but I mean, a hole's still a hole. The series is only 11 chapters so far, and yet it's already had a really good first arc that covers the first 9 chapters and is embarking on yet another promising arc. Now, as someone who isn't really into series that are mainly romance, I find myself actually enjoying the romance more than the fights. Now, of course, that's not to say the fights are bad. We've only seen about 3 major fights, I would say, so far, and they've been great. I only expect them to get better. And the paneling in the fights and the perspective, everything about them is just so good. But the romance is personally my favorite part though. And I think that's just because Garo is such a cool guy, but it's also nice to watch him awkwardly attempt to get the girl. Also, can we just pause for a moment and talk about the girls we've seen so far in these first 11 chapters? Like, oh my god. And bro, Kinosaki has me questioning things about myself. The art in general is amazing in this series and has some already amazing double spreads. Also, I enjoy the assassin world and how there are other families and you learn more stuff about Garo that I won't go into, but it's all just very interesting. The final thing that I'll touch on is that I like the fact I can't tell how long this series will be, if that makes sense. I could see it running to 300 chapters because of the premise, or it could be a shorter series around under 100 chapters or so. The reason the premise gives it this unpredictable length is because you can't tell when Garo will find love, and you can only root for him to eventually find what he wants. I think another strong suit that goes along with this point is that if there were any other manga, I think Garo would end up with Kinosaki since he's the first love interest. But for some reason, I have hope that Marriage Toxin will be able to do something completely different and possibly shock the audience with Garo's decision. Overall, please check out Marriage Toxin. You can read the whole thing for free on Manga Plus. You don't need a subscription or anything. You can just read it all right now. It only took me about an hour or so, please check it out. Also, before I give the whole spiel, I'm sorry to those who expected something crazy like Chainsaw Man and are walking away disappointed. I just needed a way to rope in a big audience and push the Marriage Toxin agenda. Either way though, check the comments if you're looking for suggestions, and please leave your own suggestions in the comments and I'll be sure to check them out. And who knows, maybe what you recommend will be in a future video. Hey guys, welcome to something new I'm gonna try and do, and that is Elijah D. Gray's 10 out of 10 segment. This is very weird, but I want to do this to talk about stuff that isn't anime and manga and just talk about them for a quick second. The first 10 out of 10 segment today is going to be my favorite album of all time. 1 second. Bam. Igor by Tyler, the motherfucking Creator. This is the greatest album ever, I dare say. The dick writing's crazy. I don't care, man. We're on the first 10 out of 10 segment. I truly believe this album is a 10 out of 10 album, and it is the greatest album ever. Those who say Kendrick Lamar, I'm not a fan of Kendrick. Those who give a Kanye album, trust me, other 10 out of 10 segments, we're going to be covering some Kanye albums. We're also going to be covering some other Tyler albums on future 10 out of 10 segments. But yeah, Igor is a 10 out of 10. As I edit this, I'll give my track list ranking, including Best Interest and Boyfriend, which should have been a part of the album. Boyfriend is on the CD, I believe. But yeah, Igor, when it came out in 2019, it was at a point in my life where I was learning more about music, and becoming more aware of music, rather, I should say. I wasn't just listening to the radio, and Igor came out, and it had a shitload of hype around it, and freshman year me listened to it, and it was something else. At the time, I didn't appreciate it, and I thought, what's the big deal? Because back then, I'll be completely honest, I listened to Young Gravy and Baby No Money and Billy Marshava. I'll put up a screenshot of my old ass playlist that I used to listen to. It's shit music, and at the time, I liked the album, but it was never that great to me. And then about 2 years ago, it was around the time Call Me If You Get Lost was announced. I was like, okay, let me go back and listen to Igor, and I fell in love, you know. And that's what I think is amazing about this album, is you don't need to be in love or have lost love or anything to understand this love story. It's just something so easy to get lost in, man. And yeah, either way, I went back, listened to this, and fell in love with Tyler. And I've become way more into music thanks to this album. Before I listened to this, I did develop past freshman year, sophomore year. You know, it was Lil Tecca, Juice World, Kid Leroy, Polo G, you name it. And then I listened to this, and it opened my eyes, and it made me go, yeah, I need to listen to more. And so, I went back, I listened to every Tyler album, fell in love, not fell in love, but like fell in love with Tyler's music. Went to the concert, that was here in Seattle. Don't mind me doxing myself, but yeah, man. And then it opened so many other doors for music for me with Kanye. I mean, for anyone who's wondering, Tyler's my number one, Kanye is my number two, Kevin Abstract's my number three, Chance is definitely up there, Juice is up there, Kendrick is like 7 or 6, Baby Keem's number four. Um, but yeah, this just got me deep diving into music and actually wanting to listen to discographies rather than songs. I don't know what I'm going to talk about in next week's 10 out of 10. Maybe I'll talk about more music or a show. I don't know. Like I said, I just want to do this to talk about shit that isn't manga and definitely not anime. I'm never going to talk about anime on this, and I'm never going to talk about manga. This is going to be a way for me to talk about other stuff I enjoy that I don't really think would fit as their own video. But yeah, that's going to be it, man. This feels weird. Very very wrong. I don't know. I feel like I have so much more to say about Igor. But really like it's just emotions if that makes sense. Like there's no words to put in how much I enjoy this album. Really. God. Well, I guess that's it. So without further ado, I've been Elijah D. Gray. If you enjoyed, please leave a like on this video. Check out Marriage Toxin, man. If you want to see more, stay up to date with my videos, please subscribe. It means the world to me, and it's been great to see the channel grow. Yeah. Until the next one, you guys. Peace.